Hi everyone, I'm Lauren. I'm here today to share some ideas and advice I have for families who have a child that was recently diagnosed with autism. This is for a video series that Kate is doing over at Finding Cooper's Voice. And I just wanted to start by talking about my family a little bit. My husband David and I, we have a 5-year-old son named Wilson, and he was diagnosed with autism about 2 years ago. And then he has a little sister, Charlie Jean, who just turned 3, and she is just all sass and sunshine right now. You can follow their journey on our blog at wilsonsclimb.com. And in reflecting over what to talk about for this video, the years of diagnosis, as I like to call them, feels like a long time ago. And I think it's because that journey to get to a diagnosis can feel so long. I remember it being a really scary, frustrating, confusing time. And one of the biggest things that I can recommend is just to get out there and try different things, but not all at once. I'm still very guilty of this. It's so hard to prioritize and find balance. I want all the hours and therapies and OT, ABA, and let's test all the bodily fluids to make sure he's on the right supplements and things like that. But at the end of the day, if it's too much for your child and it's too much for you, then it's not going to be helpful for anyone. So, and also to keep in mind that these things all don't work the same for every child, and that can be one of the most frustrating things about autism, that there's just no one-size-fits-all approach. And I just still think that's why it's important to get out there and try different things, so that you can, if you find something that works well for your child, it's so worth it. And kind of along with this idea that all of our autism journeys look so different, it's important to try really hard not to compare your child or your family's journey to other families. I know we're always just trying to gauge if our little one's going to be okay, but I just don't want you to get down if there's another child that seems to be making faster progress, or if there's a mom in your support group or on a blog you follow that seems to be handling things much better. They're not. It's just that all of our journeys are different, and it's just good to keep that in mind. Something else, when you are trying different approaches or therapies or diets, it's good to be aware and honest with yourself if something's not working. For us, I would say that was when my son was in a community preschool, right around or during when we were going through the years of his diagnosis. I remember it wasn't going well, and he needed an aid, and then eventually an ABA aid, and I just wanted so badly to keep him around some typical peers, and we loved the school, and the teachers were so wonderful with Wilson, and he loved going there, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't working. And hard as we had tried, it just wasn't working. So we ended up switching him to full-time ABA, and he's been learning so much, and it's been great. So it was a hard switch, but an important one to make. Another thing I like to do when you're kind of in those ruts and you feel like things are hard or progress isn't happening as quickly as you'd like it to, I like to look back at photos and videos of my son and see just how far he really has come. And it's just so easy to forget in the day-to-day tough stuff. It is. So look back and just take that time to be proud, and then get back to work. Another suggestion I have, and this is a really tough one, is to feel all the things that are coming your way, whether it's sadness or anger, guilt. Don't linger with the guilt too long, though. I avoided feeling a lot of these things in the beginning by throwing myself into research and appointments and goals, and I remember a friend telling me at the time that it's okay to grieve a little, and I didn't really know what she had meant by that, because grief is something I normally associate with death or loss, and I think it just felt extreme for where we were at, and I slowly started to understand over time what she was talking about, and it's just that realization that my little guy's life is going to look different than what we had imagined for him, and that my life and my family's journey was going to look different than we had in mind. And I just think that that kind of change and acceptance is really hard. It's hard, and it takes time, especially when at your core you're just scared for your child, and so much can feel out of your control. And I think just working through all those emotions can get you to that strong place where you're ready to be an advocate for your child. And I think it's really important to stay present, not think too far ahead as far as will he or she ever do this or have this in 10 or 30 years down the line. I think it's great to set goals, but just the fear of the unknown can be a big downward spiral that you just want to avoid if you can. Find your people, that safe place for you to laugh and cry or vent or talk about anything but autism. I know sometimes you'd probably rather retreat and isolate yourself and be alone for a while, and that's okay too. Just again, don't stay there too long. I think just find your tribe. It's so important to have support in this. And for me, with working through all the emotions that come along with this and the diagnosis, can get you to that place of acceptance. And for me, that made it so much easier to talk about autism and my son and spread knowledge, and hopefully that can lead to more kindness and acceptance, and that's really important to me. And also helped us be able to raise him to be proud of who he is, because we're so proud of who he is. So I think that's all I've got for you guys today. Again, if you would like to follow our journey, you can follow us at wilsonsclimb.com, and we're also on Facebook and Instagram at Wilsons Climb, an Autism Journey. Thanks, guys.